5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello and welcome to Truth, Beer, and Podsequences. So this is the podcast where my co-host and I listen to all the Cincinnati-based craft beer podcasts from the previous week, and then we get together at a podcast host, and today we are back. We are back at Higher Gravity Summit Park. Thank you for being gracious podcast hosts. And what we do is we give our version of the truth of how those podcasts went, and hopefully there aren't too many consequences from the hosts of the other podcasts. So far, so good. So,
although we did just recently piss off a podcast we reviewed for the first time last week.
I said so far so good because that's sort of the thing. But yeah, there was a thing. We'll get to that in just a little bit. I am Marco. I'm a taproom manager here locally, and that voice you heard belongs to the best co-host in Podcastlandia.
I am Julia. I am a drinker of all the craft beer in the Cincinnati area, and I like to just do funny things related to beer, including eating pelleted hops because... I mean, why not?
You did do that.
I did do that. When someone dares me to do something, I am not a smart person, and 75% of the time I'll do it.
But you did it before they triple dog dared you.
This is very true. It didn't take much convincing.
No.
So, yeah.
So just to address the podsequence from last week, thank you very much for the shout out, the response from the Beerist podcast
on Twitter. Yes,
on Twitter. Apparently, and we had no idea. We had no previous knowledge of their friend. And in the last episode, we did sort of go on a little bit of a dig.
Yeah.
On
a good friend of theirs. Yeah.
A good friend of theirs.
Very good friend of theirs.
Jar Binks. I had no idea.
No, the pictures that they had with him, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
So
he's very tall.
He is very tall.
Very tall, Jar. So Jar, if you're friends of theirs, then you're friends of ours.
Yes, and we did say that we would say something nice about Mr. Binks because, again, we did not mean to offend. So was that your nice thing? He's very tall?
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
cool.
I'm short, so I mean,
so am I. And
I look at tall things and I go, how'd you do that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
How can we do that? And my nice thing about Mr. Binks is he uses his powers for good and not evil.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. So to the Beerist, thank you. And again, sorry for unintentionally offending you guys.
Yeah.
Love the podcast. I'm really enjoying kind of catching up on episodes, and hopefully we'll see some more Cincinnati episodes from them in the future.
Plenty of breweries to do that again.
Absolutely.
I'm sure it won't be anytime soon, but plenty of breweries to do it again.
Yes.
Other than that, this would not be a good craft beer podcast if we weren't drinking craft beer, unlike those fake-ass podcasts that don't drink craft beer. But
you know who you are.
You know who you are.
You know.
You do. And you're out there just, being a fugazi.
They're just drinking Mio. That's all. That's all there is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, speaking of... Marco, what's in your glass? It looks delicious.
I've had it before on this pod. Probably for the past 2 weeks. I'm having Lunch by Maine Beer Company.
It's such a damn good beer.
It's a very good beer.
It is solid. And I'm having from Wolf's Ridge Hammer Toss. It is their Dunkel, and I've had it...
Stop. Hammer Toss.
Time. Oh, I messed that one up.
That's all right.
Good job. You win, I lose. But we both are kind of winners because we both have really good beers in our glasses.
We are.
Yes.
So, just as as one of those things, right before we get into it. So, the thoughts and opinions on this podcast are those of, us and us only individually, not any that may be representative of any entity that we may be affiliated with. That includes the places we work. That also includes Higher Gravity.
Yes.
So, don't at them, at us. And
100%.
We will tell you at the end of the pod how you can do all of that adding and
more.
Yeah, and more. Julia.
Marco.
What's next?
Do you want to talk about, before we get into the podcast, which we have a decent number of them to go over today, but there has been a lot of kind of brewery news going on in the Cincinnati area. So I wanted to kind of give a shout out kind of quickly to some of the things that are happening. And maybe we'll do either a video episode or just kind of another bonus episode, if not this week, next week, kind of digging into some of these a little bit deeper. A couple things going on. One of the biggest ones, I think, is the Listermans are retiring. And they have sold or transferred whatever the actual, thing that is happening with their brewery to a couple that home brews. So they're going to be continuing the Listerman Brewing legacy so that Dan and Sue can finally kick their feet up, relax, and just enjoy beer without having to think about it as their job and their business. So congratulations to them. There are a bunch of places that are opening up additional locations, which is crazy, and I love it. You have Third Eye Brewing. They're opening up 2 new locations in the near future. You have Sonder Brewing opening up a new location in the near future, and you have High Grain opening up a new location in the near future. Holy crap. And some of those we will talk about as we do our podcast recaps. And then I think the last thing that you actually showed me is that Firehouse Grill has a new head brewer, so they're going to be continuing their brewing program and making their own in-house beers.
Yeah, right down the street here from Higher Gravity Summit Park.
We could almost see it if it wasn't for kind of the restaurants and the pavilion area blocking the road. Yeah.
Yeah, not
Very
far
cool.
from here. So
Very
they
cool.
are ramping back up beer production for that space.
Oh, and I guess garage beer becoming its own thing from Braxton.
Yeah.
However, that's going to work out. That'll be really interesting to see what happens there.
Yes.
Yes. A lot going on here.
Yep. A lot going on. And to find out not just that type of brewery news stuff, but if you want to go to events and stuff, make sure you are listening to our 0.5 episodes. So
Yes.
the calendar episodes that usually post on a Wednesday, this pod usually posts on a Friday.
Yes, and any other bonus stuff that we do drops whenever I am able to get it edited and pushed out to all of you listeners.
Yep.
Love it. All right, we have podcasts to talk about.
Let's do it.
So let's see if we are on the same. I mean, our notes always match. So, but let's just make sure.
Yeah, we
Why
have
not?
to. We have to make sure. So
We have What You Into. We actually have 2 episodes of this to talk about because just timing-wise last week, some of us just didn't get around to being able to listen to that. So we have parts 4 and 5 of the High Grain interview series. We have Drinking with the Gnome, where he talks to Victory Pints. We have Cincy Brewcast talking to Third Eye Brewing. We have Shift Beers talking about Good God, another Spaghetti episode.
yes.
And then just a quick touch on Craft Parenting Podcast. They drank some Big Timber beers, but most of the episode was about other stuff. So that's just going to be like a real quick little, hey, check it out if you want to hear about X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
Cool. What do you want to start with?
Let's start with What You Into.
All right, because we have 2 episodes of What You Into to talk about. Both of these are season 3. This is going to be episode 102 and 103, like we just said, parts 4 and 5 of the High Grain series. Part 6, he's going to be doing live at High Grain. Well, he will have done it live at High Grain the day before this episode comes out. Boy, talking about podcast time is weird.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was awesome. I'm sure that you
Oh, it
and
was
I had a
fantastic.
great time
Oh, we
while,
had a
while
great
there.
time.
I mean, the conversation was amazing. The beer was amazing.
Beer was great.
We laughed so
Food?
hard. The food was
Food was
great.
good.
Food was
good.
absolutely fantastic.
Really cool to get to meet some of the people.
Yes, that he's been interviewing and talking about, and that we feel like we know now because of these episodes.
Right. So we can go be creepy.
Yes, absolutely. I know.
Well,
you.
I didn't mean to be creepy, but
But it happens.
It's happened because I'm a creep.
We're ooh,
That's
man,
all right.
I almost said something. I was gonna say like we're podcasters, but
Okay.
yeah, we'll figure that one out. Let's see. Let's start with part 4. This is Adventures of Chef Man with Christian Ireland, who is the head chef at High Grain Brewing. This was one of the most composed, concise, like straight to the point intros of the What You Into podcast ever. And to kind of give you a little Marco knows. To give you a little insight on what the podcast format is, this is a bit of a conversation about what these people from High Grain kind of do at High Grain, what their role is, and then they break off into the main focus of the episode or of the podcast in general, which is their hobbies, what they're into.
Right.
We're really only going to be talking about the High Grain portion of it, but we'll give you a couple like snippets on their hobbies because they are all very, very cool conversations, a lot of fun to listen to. The High Grain portion of this episode was about 27 minutes long. So the main point of, or not the main point, but the main focus of this was being head chef at High Grain and how that all came about and just some of his experiences leading up to that. And holy shit, a Cheeto chicken sandwich sounds absolutely amazing. Your mileage may vary.
Right.
I see you side-eyeing. It's fine. It's fine. We don't have to like the same things.
It was really cool, though, because you certainly get an insight, or his version, which is the way it happened, as to how he became, or how he started in restaurants and how he became a chef, and what he learned from some of his leaders and how he wants to lead. That's all pretty fun. He started out because his parents wanted him to get a job, and so it was like, hey, go work at this bar.
Right.
Which makes sense.
Sure.
And so he found out very quickly what he wanted to do, or what he didn't want to do in a bar or restaurant platform, and then faked his way into getting a promotion of sorts once you're in the kitchen.
That's true. And although, did he really fake his way? Like, he found a way, and he's still constantly working on ways to make things like Taco Bell food taste good. Like, here's a concept.
He lied. He lied. It's like, hey, I can do that. And like, oh, yeah? Great.
Okay, do it. And he's
it.
like, oh. Like right now?
It took a few minutes for the chef to come around. I was like, you've never done this before. He's like, well, you better fucking figure it out real fast.
Yes. They discussed if plotting stoner food can ever go wrong.
They did. They did.
Yeah,
Go listen and find out.
Does it? Did it? Can it? Will it? And what kind of foods in that same mindset show up at High Grain on the menu?
Yes.
The answer will surprise you. Because I felt like a lot of the things he talked about, you would almost see at a place like Nine Giant, more so than High Grain. Just kind of like the quality, the creativity, really, really cool things. Again, the High Grain part of this was only about 30 minutes, so that was kind of all of the... Well, I guess I had two other notes on that part of the episode. The other two notes that I had, and I'm sure they're the same as your notes, but let me know if you had anything else on this. Understanding why you fuck up is the best way to learn. Like, you got to understand the mistakes you made, what led to them.
Right.
And having a great team is absolutely everything. Which I agree with both of those points.
It's very important.
Yeah, very, very.
Very important.
And then they dug into the hobbies part of the podcast, which this was comics. His dad got him into comics. His dad sounds like the most freaking cool dude in the whole world. So that was awesome hearing Tank go over and over, I'm going to hang out with your dad. I'm going to hang out with your dad. It kind of got a little awkward near the end, like the frequency and the intensity of Tank wanting to hang out with Christian's dad just kept going up and up and up. And I think by the end, you can almost like feel that awkward energy coming through the podcast. But hey.
Family now.
There you go. Let's see. There are some Walking Dead comic spoilers in the beginning of the comics section of this episode. So if that's something you're into, just be warned. Superman is unfuckable. Tank singing I'm So Mad and Now I Have Angel Wings. That was amazing. And kind of the whole crux of the episode, just Google it.
There you go.
Pretty good. Did you have anything else on Season 3, Episode 102 of What You Into? Adventures of Chef Man with Christian Ireland?
Nope.
All right. Let's move on to Season 3, Episode 103 of What You Into, which is Belly Dance Dance Revolution with Joy Razinha, a.k.a. Tamra Henna. This was, I'm not going to lie, this was a very long episode. And only the first... Only the first, like, 18-ish minutes were about what she does at High Grain. And
which, again, that's the format of the podcast, right? It's about getting into the hobbies. So,
yeah, but I will say on this, I didn't feel like her interview, when they talked about, what was kind of like the High Grain section of this podcast, I don't know what she does there. She's a baker. She talked about how she loves to bake and how she kind of used making her absolutely amazing chicken sandwich to kind of get in at High Grain. But I don't know if she is a full-time baker there to where all she does are like the baked goods, or if she is more
On the line.
on the line. Right. So that is something that I didn't get a lot of clarification on.
We know
with
she
this.
did make it to the fry station, but she
did,
didn't give us.
and-
She didn't elaborate any more on as to what she's doing now.
Yes, and she has not yet cried in the walk-in. Very important. Very, very important. What was cool about her, the high grain section of this podcast, an insult from her husband is what led to her getting a job at High Grain.
Yep.
Yeah, may or
That's
may
what
not
it
be,
is.
may or may not be the entire truth, but that's our truth. So definitely check out the episode to find out. One of the things that she also said, kind of before they transitioned into the hobby part of the episode, which, surprise, surprise, belly dance, if you didn't get that from the title,
Right.
is you have to find the perfect balance of doing what you love for you versus for others. And that's, going from doing something you love as a hobby and transitioning it into a job. As a hobby, you're doing it for you. As a job, you're doing it for others. And I thought that was a really cool conversation piece that made a lot of sense.
I think a lot of people can identify with something like that, right? And I think that's another reason why Tank's podcast can resonate with a lot of people, is because that theme comes up often.
Yes. The main part of the episode, again, belly dancing. You can hear how a divine intervention got her into belly dancing. It was never something that she sought out, but
Another one of those sort of mystical her truth sort of scenarios.
yep.
She used to belly dance. She used to belly dance, Julia? She used to belly dance in bar rooms.
All kinds of rooms.
Yeah, all kinds of
Stages,
rooms.
rooms in between tables, like next to.
Look, I'm just saying, any podcast where you've got horses, camels, costumes, replica Oval offices, swimming pools, and Ross Perot.
I mean, how the hell can you?
How
go
can you
wrong?
not listen to that?
No kidding, and that's not even bullshit.
Stop me when I lie.
Every single bit of that and more is in this particular episode. It was ridiculous. I loved every single minute of it. I really can't top that as far as notes go, other than.
Can I finish? Can I finish?
Yes, you can.
That's the Ross Perot.
Yes. Can I?
For those of you not old enough to know.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Good God. I bet you could have his ears as like part of your costume, and you wouldn't be able to fit through a single damn doorway in any of the spaces that
My
she
ears are
stands
big enough. I don't need any of that. I don't need that.
She talked about costumes and bras that are so hard that if you punch them, you'll hurt yourself and not
Yeah.
your boobs.
Yeah, I know about that.
That was a hell of a conversation piece to have. Mm-hmm. And find out how many Van Halen jump kicks
Yes.
she has done in her shows. The answer was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. Not going to lie about that. I don't know if she's going to be there. Well, if she was there for the live show,
Right.
boy, again, talking in like podcast timeline is interesting. But Tank is also releasing, or High Grain is releasing a collaboration beer with Tank as part of that. Mm-hmm. It is a New England IPA.
It's called Get Tanked.
Called Get Tanked, and it is probably still on tap. So get your ass up there and get some What You Into beer. And who knows, maybe that's going to be what you're into.
Could be.
Could be. It sounds good. I'm excited for
Did we
her.
get tanked?
Hell yeah.
That's right.
Hell yeah. Why not? That's kind of all we had for these two episodes. Again, kind of shorter recaps just because these were just tiny little chunks of much longer podcasts that were about high grain, Cincinnati craft beer, that kind of thing. But we absolutely wanted to shout this out, and we are so excited for all the things that Tank's doing with the podcast. Looking forward to the next one.
Very exciting.
Still good on your beer? Do you want to kind of keep running through this, or do you need to take a break?
No, let's, what we got next? Crap Parenting Pod. Let's do that.
Okay. This is going to be kind of a quicker one because...
I'll need a beer after this.
Okay, all right. Let's see. This is episode 89, Moving the AFC Wildcard and Beers from Big Timber. Now, I will say that they were drinking beers from Big Timber. They did the typical craft parenting podcast thing where they tell you a little bit about the brewery and then read from the can a bit about each of the beers that they had from Big Timber.
One of my nicknames in high school.
What, Big Timber? Oh, well, all right then. We haven't had many nicknames from high school in the last couple weeks, so
Yeah.
I'm very glad that that you're back to re-exposing us to all of those. It's kind of awkward.
What it was about. Yep.
Let's see. They had an IPA, a fest beer, and a porter. All from Big Timber. Good friend of our show and theirs, Matt Damaris, a.k.a. the Brews Traveler, provided them to them. I believe it was part of their house closing gift, so
Yeah.
it was really freaking cool. A majority of the episode wasn't about the beers. It was while they were watching the AFC Wildcard game, so you had Joe and Caroline both screaming things at the TV, like right in the middle of recording. Multiple times it was said, should we really be recording this right now? Because we're kind of distracted. Joe is like Captain America. He only gets a few of the references, and he's ancient. That was something brought up there. This episode does answer last week's recap question of who knows more about football, Joe or Caroline. And they refused to buy their kids Christmas presents this year. And you can find out why. They said, we're not doing it. We 100% refuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sometimes,
Sometimes it's got to happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes kids have to take a back seat to the rest of the world.
Sometimes you just got to do stuff like that. So,
True that.
They know what
True
it feels
that.
like.
Yeah, I mean, again, was not a very beer-centric episode. They were drinking beers, but most of the episode was talking about other stuff. Give the episode a listen. It's still a fun episode. And next time they do, like, something that is 100% beer-focused, we'll just have a longer recap. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with this beer either.
You are. I was just going to say, you are almost done with your lunch, so I say we take a quick break. I'm still very good on my Hamatas. And we'll
Stop.
Hamatas.
That's right.
I got it this
You got
time.
it.
Hey, it only took me twice. All right, guys. We'll be right back. We have made it back.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I left you hanging on the back there.
Oh, good. Oh, good. It's perfectly fine. I'm still drinking my Wolf's Ridge Hamatas.
There you go.
Hey, one of these days I'll actually, be on the ball immediately. But you have something from the cooler. What did you pick up?
I have Untitled Art Cold IPA.
Don't you mean India Pale Lager?
No.
Okay.
Cold IPA.
Okay. That's fair.
Brewed with Simcoe, Strata, and Citra hops. So they're out of Moonachie. Wanaukee. I don't know what's wrong with my eyes. It's Wanaukee, Wisconsin.
They're from the great up north.
I bet they have great cheese curds.
Oh, I bet they do.
I mean, I can't have them, but I bet they're great.
No, but I bet they're great. I bet they're absolutely fantastic.
Actually, I should try the beer.
You really should, because that's what we do. We drink while we're on this show.
Yeah, we're not like those fake ass beer podcasts that don't drink.
Would you like to do the Cincinnati Brewcast?
Cheers.
Oh yeah, I'm doing this. All right. Or would you like to do spaghetti time?
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. Let's go with Dancing with the Gnome.
All right.
Cheers.
Oh man, damn. Barely have my glass down.
Dancing with the Gnome.
Come on. Just say it again. Okay, but so if we are completely shit-faced before we're done with this, like, 30-ish minute episode recap, you can blame Marco.
So Victory Pints, huh?
Yes, episode 23, Drinking at Victory Pints. He talked to owner and founder Riley Mullins. And this sounds like a really cool place depending on what you like to do. It is a combination, kind of like bar, tap room, and board game / tabletop game, like store and play. I don't say play area because that sounds
Yeah. You know what
like
the V
it's
in
for
Victory
kids.
Pint stands for?
victory.
Fucking nerds.
Ooh, see, I don't know. When I was listening to this, I'm like, this sounds really cool. I wouldn't mind going out there to check the place out because
No, I agree.
Because
agree.
you know, I'm maybe
I agree,
a
but
fucking nerd,
if anyone in the Cincinnati Craft Beer Podcast mentions, D&D.
Oh, absolutely.
They get the fucking nerds button.
Absolutely, they do. You actually got a sneak peek of this episode if you follow the Drinking with the Gnome YouTube page. He put up a video clip of this interview almost a week ago. So you got a preview of what was to come, which is all the more reason that if you're not already subscribed to all of the Gnome's YouTube pages, in addition to all of his podcasts. Yeah, so the Gnarly Gnome is one, Drinking with the Gnome is another, and I don't remember if Cincy Brewcast has its own YouTube channel or not, because I follow all of them, so it all kind of blurs together which one is on which channel. But definitely check it out. You get some sneak peeks of the episodes. The video content he's putting out with these clips of the episodes are really, really good, so definitely do that. But back to this episode in particular, Victory Pints is in Mainville, which is like the other side of the world, pretty much. It's a little bit off of the beaten path. It's just east of Loveland. It probably would take me just as long to get there as it would to get to like the Narrow Path or...
It's sort of down the street from Cellar Dweller.
Technically, everything's down the street from Cellar Dweller.
Yeah.
Yes, as the crow flies.
Right.
Which does that mean? Does that mean that Victory Pints is basically downtown?
Downtown, maybe downtown Mainville. I don't know. I've actually never been there.
Never been to Mainville? Or to Victory Pints?
To Victory Pints. I've
Okay,
been to
yes,
Mainville
okay.
a lot. I mean,
Well, that's what I wasn't sure about.
When I would brew, we would go have lunch in Mainville.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Because
nice.
even though the wineries in Morrow, we would go eat lunch in Mainville.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Let's see, this wasn't a super long episode, so this isn't going to be
About
super
26
long...
minutes or so.
Yeah, so this isn't going to be a super long recap, but it was really cool to hear about them using Kickstarter to get going, and Kickstarter has kind of changed the entire landscape of really board games and card games specifically. If you're not into those things, you'd have no idea, but if you go to Kickstarter, a huge portion of what they are funding and trying to get started are board games, card games, miniature games, that type of thing. And so I think it was really cool that Victory Pints was able to start up and kind of get the ball rolling by using that platform. I know that other places, breweries, have used either Kickstarter or other crowdfunding type crowdfunding sites and programs to get started. Victory Pints falls into that same category.
So, yes. And it was also interesting to hear the story about how it just all came about. I mean, how you got from whatever they were, whatever he as the owner was doing and trying to work out. And surprise, COVID pops its head into this.
And they're like, well, guess we're pivoting a lot faster than what we thought. Yeah.
Right. And then, it gets you to where you're at. My youngest, who has a birthday coming up, about to be 18.
Ooh, nice.
They play D&D, and I was talking to them with Rachel about Victory Pints and the concept of the place. And it's like they've got coffee and they've got beer and they've got food, although I don't know what the food is. And then they have I think it's ice cream or something. Yeah. And it's like. And
they have sandwiches. Like I looked at their website. Not to interrupt, I apologize.
No, I mean this is Go ahead.
But yeah, they on their website they have like sandwiches. They have small bites. They have some mixed drinks. They have you can get regular coffee. You can get not super specialty like Starbucks level coffee stuff, but it's a place that you can go and hang out and play games with your friends for hours at a time.
Am I mistaken? But in one of the Schiff beer drinkings, did Beth go to Victory Pints with Anik?
Oh, shoot. That's a good question.
Let's just say she did.
Let's just say she did.
Yeah,
she absolutely did.
She did.
One of the things, and this wasn't talked about in the episode, this is something that, again, I was curious. I'm interested in this concept, so I went to the Victory Pints website, which is vpcincy.com. You can see their food menu, their drink menu, what they have on draft. The game tables that they have were custom made for them. Mm-hmm. It's like a tabletop, but the inside is recessed. So like when you roll your dice, it's not going off the side of the table. It's padded. They have like drink holders and little shelves on the side so that you're not risking spilling your drink or getting your food onto your games. And you can put down a reservation for like a 4-hour block to hold a table for you if hey, a group of us are going to, we want to show up around 7 and we'd like to make sure we have a table, you can reserve a table. Otherwise, it's kind of just first come, first serve.
Are there TVs there where you can watch like sports ball or Seinfeld or anything?
I don't know.
Not that I watched Seinfeld.
I didn't see any in the pictures that I saw, and I don't recall Gnome or Riley mentioning that in this episode.
Maybe not, because part of it.
I don't know why. Yeah, I
part
think
of it was about disconnecting.
Yes. Yes.
Not having to be totally tied to your electronic devices.
Right. So
unless you have a pacemaker, which you're automatically attached to an electric device, so
at all times.
At all times. So.
Yes. They talked about some of the most played games, which was a really cool conversation. So some of the games that are played the most there, and just kind of in general as far as board games go, aren't necessarily the ones that you would think, which I don't know, unless you're into board games, I don't know what you would think. But it's not Chutes and Ladders, which that is a personal favorite of mine. Candyland is another amazing one.
Apples to Apples.
Apples to Apples, that's another good one. He did say that they try to avoid Uno tournaments and Monopoly because that just gets people pissed off and the tables have been flipped one too many times.
Right.
Was kind of a funny part of the conversation.
Didn't know the Weakest Link had a board game.
No, it doesn't surprise me. But I didn't
the Weakest
know.
Link.
Yeah. Let's see. Kind of one of the last notes that I had on the episode is Riley's goal is to create kind of a microcosm of Cincy craft breweries at the space to try to help introduce people to what Cincinnati has to offer as far as beer goes.
Maybe they could do a festival called Microcosm Fest.
That would be super cool. Super cool. You could do something similar to what the Delhi Beer Fest was, where you roll a dice to see what beer you get to drink.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember hearing about that.
I'm interested to see if they do that again this summer, because that was pretty cool. It was neat. But they do have a lot of really, really good craft beers from the local. Good.
Actually,
that'd be awesome.
What I'll do is I'll say I might make it there, and then when it actually comes time to
you're
go,
not gonna show up.
I got a thing.
Sorry, I'm busy. I
gotta coach lacrosse.
I'm doing stuff. I'm doing stuff
stuff
that doesn't involve me driving over to the west side.
Right, I can't do it.
It's okay.
I'm not going to make it.
I understand.
I got a lacrosse mitzvah.
Lacrosse mitzvah.
Can't make it.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll enjoy all the chutzpah without you.
Very good.
There we go. But no, definitely check out this episode. Again, it's only about 30 minutes long, a little under 30 minutes long, and it's a really cool sounding space, something that you don't really get a lot of in the area, where you're mixing gaming and drinking. I think this might be a really cool platform to kind of scratch that itch.
Maybe we could come up with a podcast concept but it'd be open. It'd be open, and there'd be music, much like a craft beer bar or a brewery, and then you just had your own tables with outlets and different things to where you could just come and podcast. If you had your own equipment, you could bring it, or they would have
a professional space.
You'd have a space where the equipment was
already there.
Already there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could call it Revel. Anyway, that's a different topic for a different day. But if you know, you know.
Right.
Yes. Again, super cool. I was very interested in this. Hopefully some people that listen to us might be interested in this. It would be a bit of a drive for me, but the hours are good. They're open until midnight, so there are a lot of gaming places in the Cincinnati area that close really early, even on weekends. They'll close anywhere from 8 to 10 p.m.
My wife was trying to tell me that there's other places like this. I'm like, I didn't know.
Yeah, similar. Not many have incorporated food and drink, however, because
they're not doing it right.
Well, but if you think about it, a lot of times, do you want to run the risk of drinks, even if it's not alcoholic, but just any type of beverage being spilled on a board game, on your, magic cards, on your, whatever you might be doing? There is an inherent risk there. I'm just saying.
There is, but you can't tell me that, or you could tell me, but
oh, I will.
Let me phrase it a different way.
Yes.
Aren't people that are doing this at their homes probably partaking in food and beverage in their own unique way?
It could be, yeah. But you don't have strangers walking past potentially bumping into the table.
Or belly dancers,
or belly
going
dancers
through
coming in.
in between the tables.
I think
and
there's
all
a
that.
little more of a, like the potential unknowns when it's not just you and your group of friends.
God, I
when
would
you have
love
other
that
groups.
if they actually advertised that they had belly dancers there one day.
Dude, that'd be amazing. We know a chick.
We know someone.
We know
who
a
could do
lady.
that.
Absolutely.
And we know.
And we know someone who knows.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we know them.
Like through
well,
like
as
7
of
degrees.
today, we
yeah,
do.
Absolutely.
As of
this
today, podcast releasing,
sure
we do.
Sure we do.
Yeah, we got that contact.
I don't know. I think it'd be cool. One of the places that you're talking about potentially, I believe, Arcade Legacy. Josh and I, my Josh and I went to the one that just opened up in Sharonville. Just opened. It's all arcade games. It's like a flat fee for all you can play games, except for some of the specialty pinball games, which are 50 cents a play. They don't have food and drink in there yet, but they do have their liquor license. They're going to be putting in, I think they had 12 taps at the bar that was already in the building. They have a full kitchen. They're planning on doing all that. So there are places that are...
What's the food going to be?
I don't know.
Cheese curds?
Could be cheese
Pizza?
curds. Probably pizza. Probably some sandos. All kind of good stuff.
Some tacos?
Ooh, maybe.
Maybe some tacos.
Maybe some tacos. What else did you have for this episode of Drinking with the Gnome?
That's it.
That's it? All right.
That's it. Moving on.
I don't know what that voice was, but hey, sure, why not? Do you want to just stick with the Gnome?
Yep.
And go to Cincy Brewcast? All right. This is Season 8, Episode 37. Third Eye Brewing, 3 locations, and keeping it varied. Now, I will say, this has nothing to do with this particular episode, but I did notice in my podcatcher last week's episode said Season 8, Episode 30, and not 36.
Ooh.
Yeah. Some of us pay attention to some of these things
Ooh.
that mean absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Well, you
just
can...
like... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
It's just like the little video clip that he posted from his interview from last week with Ryan Geist. The Gatorade bottle on the table was, you guys can't see this because you're not on the live stream, but it was like not on a solid surface. It was like half on. I couldn't tell what it was. And I'm like, that's all I could see for the entire 2-minute duration of the clip. So
You saw it leaning, tilted.
yes, which tilted me. I mean, it made me just not even able to pay attention to
Full
stuff.
tilt.
But if Gnome is wondering, do people pay attention to some of the smaller details of what he's doing?
Julia does.
I do. And no one else does, and it doesn't matter in
Yeah.
any way, shape, or form, but it's
You're
It's
the
out there.
one.
let's see, this episode, to actually bring this back into Cincy Brewcast, Tom Collins and Kelly Montgomery from Third Eye sat down with the Gnome, and they talked about all things Third Eye, including their 2 new locations that are up and coming. Mm-hmm. They talked canning lines. COVID kind of pushed them into canning a lot sooner than they were originally intending to do, which I feel like is the story for a lot of local breweries going through COVID, or well, I don't say going through COVID, that's not like they all had it, but during the pandemic, most breweries were forced into changing their, not necessarily changing their business model, but picking up or putting aside plans that they had either a lot faster than they intended to, or they said, we just have to completely back burner this because we don't know when it's going to make sense for us until the climate changes.
That discussion's really interesting because Kelly actually gave an anecdote about what a canning line used to cost, quite a hefty purchase price. Mm-hmm. But in between when they were planning Third Eye and then when COVID actually hit, the advancements in canning lines made it far more affordable, still pricey, but far more affordable for a small brewery to decide that they can go into canning.
Right, for sure, yeah.
So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, still not a light decision to make. Like, oh, sure,
Right.
we'll just go ahead and throw this in there, but it did make it much more accessible than it had previous. So that was actually that was really, really cool to hear, kind of that sort of behind the scenes, peek behind the curtain, the more technical side of running a brewery. Then they got into kind of their new upcoming locations. The first of which has already been determined.
Yeah.
We know exactly where it's going to be.
Gnome's hometown.
Gnome's hometown of Hamilton. And the only reason that they are going to be putting this new location, which is going to be a production space as well as a tap room in Hamilton, is because of the Gnome. They said everything that you do for Cincinnati Craft, we cannot thank you enough. So
it's a theme.
it is a theme. So they said we could, we could just give you like a free pint or two every time you stop into our location. But no, we want to go bigger and better than that. We are going to build an entire new facility in your backyard just so you don't have to drive as far when you want our beer.
That's it.
I mean, holy crap. Like, how do we get that? You know what I want?
You know what?
What?
Maybe when we've been doing this as long as the Gnome.
That's true.
Maybe then.
That's true.
Somebody will do something like that for us.
Yes. I'm down. But would it be in my backyard or your backyard? Because those are very, very different backyards.
Well, we would have to discuss.
Yeah.
We would have to
We
discuss
could do that. We can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the
and I would
meantime-
gladly come to your backyard for some beer, much like I'm sure you would gladly come to my backyard.
Of course I would.
Yeah.
Of course I would.
Yeah.
I've got a lacrosse mitzvah thing happening, but yeah, I could be there. Count me in. The other thing is that along with building in the backyards and all this other stuff, and that's fantastic. Just want to say Boston Beer Company, Sam Adams, I mean, if you ever want to toss us a couple of Utopias bottles,
Yeah.
one for Julie and I, because, of how much we talk about Sam Adams, we wouldn't turn it down.
No, we absolutely would not.
You know,
We actually
or tickets
have.
to the actual Utopias releasing event along with the bottles, wouldn't turn it down.
No, definitely
Just
not. Definitely
keep in mind too that I would take my son Vincent. I'm sure Julie
Yeah.
would take Josh
Yeah.
Engel, and and so it would be a great time.
And it would be the best day ever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
actually need to talk about the best day ever coming up fairly soon.
Yeah, we should. Yeah,
we really
actually,
need to get back into
we
that.
will get back into that.
Bring out the timing.
The space, the way they talked about it, they mainly talked about their main space and then the future space decisions that their main space looks the way it is. What is the vibe or aesthetic for the second space? Wanting to keep some aspects of Third Eye true to itself, but also not want it to be cookie cutter.
Right. They want to make sure that it fits the vibe of the community, but still feels like you're in a Third Eye location. They want to keep that kind of groovy, somewhat psychedelic feel to it. They're going to keep the range of beers the same, having the two different production spaces. They talked about will really allow them to keep a lot of their, I guess, either core or flagship beers, which I always hate calling them that, but it is like, the staple beers that they have, but give them a lot more flexibility to have some of the more, trendy, hype, whatever beers, as well as some of the more experimental stuff that they want to do.
Also, they just really want to can their Kolsch.
That's true.
I mean, they really, really, really want to can their Kolsch. Now,
Yes.
clearly their Kolsch is going to be a huge mover in the tap room because people like yellow fizzy beer and they don't serve, big beer brand yellow fizzy beer.
Right.
I definitely think that once they can their Kolsch, that their Kolsch will sell and sell fine. But that's just a weird. I don't know. It's a tough decision, right? Because by volume, you're going to move that beer in your tap room very well. In distribution, if you're canning it, I don't know how great those numbers are. I mean, clearly
There's a lot of
Sonder-
competition, both national brands as well as other local brands.
Absolutely. We talked earlier about Braxton spinning off garage beer, whatever that means. Rheingeist has Cheetah, and, Sonder has Kate. Is it
Voss.
Voss? Sonder is Voss. I don't know why I was about to say Cato. Cato's Voss. Cato is the coffee version.
Yes. Cato's freaking delicious. So
Yeah.
that I feel like that absolutely
But
fits in the same general guidelines. It's not quite the yellow fizzy beer that Voss is, but yeah.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
so you got Voss, and then there's
Mantry's legendary lager.
A legendary
Yeah,
lager,
yeah.
absolutely. I don't know why I keep forgetting to mention that. But you've got these options. 50 West, American lager. I mean, you've got so many options out there in this genre, in this category. I think what it would become is that people who want that go-to beer from the brewery that they're familiar with are probably going to buy it. Also, another thing to think about is format. Legendary Lager and Cheetah come in 12 packs.
Yes. 12-pack, 12-ounce cans. It fits because it's a nice, crushable beer. You have a lot of them in one sitting.
And then, so you need those in 12 packs. Who's going to put one in Texas Tall Boys? You know, and then is it going to stay in the same six-pack, 12-ounce format?
Nope, Third Eye's going to be doing 18 packs for their Kolsch, is what I heard.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes. Listen to this episode to get a little, some more detail on that. But
Guess I
they
just
are
wasn't-
they are trying to buck the trend a little bit. Like they know what competition they're going to have for that shelf space in distribution with a Kolsch. I feel like neither of them are of the opinion that this is going to be the only, yellow fizzy beer out there on shelves, but it's theirs. And they make damn good ones, just like so many other breweries. So
Yeah, they do make damn good
So they were
Kolsch.
talking about, well, you know what, 12 packs, 6 packs, those are a thing. You have 16-ounce cans in a 4-pack. Maybe, they thought about doing, a 6-pack of those. Or even kind of like what Rheingeist is moving to with some of their beers in the 19.2.
19.2s.
That was a thought, too. And then they're like,
Yeah.
you know what? We want a package that people can easily carry in volume this beer to parties and to, everything that, all the places they want to go and share it. So 18 packs.
Yeah.
I don't know why not just go for a 30 rack at that point, but hey, 18's an interesting
30
number.
racks are great. Although what you're doing is you're probably getting into a $50 price point.
Yeah, that's true. 18, I think, would still be very, very practical for most people getting a craft beer like that in, I don't want to say like a mass packaging, because 18 isn't, 18's not 30. Math, imagine that.
Hey, you're not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
Hold on, write that down. Hold on.
Write that
18 is not
There's
30. Okay, very good.
Cool. Got in both of our notes now.
Yep.
Excellent. Location number 3
Yep.
is something that I'm a little upset with because of where location number 3 is most likely going to happen. Nothing is set in stone yet, but to me, from my backyard, from my location, they're all in the same part of the world. And no, Justin, not downtown. Not downtown from Sonder. But they are still not close enough to me for my own happiness. So maybe for location number 4, they should really reconsider thinking about some of the other people in the world.
There we
like
go.
Us
We're
Westsiders.
already leapfrogging to location number 4, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Why not? If you're going for 3, why not go for 4? Or 5? Have a Third Eye on every street corner. Okay, maybe not that. That might be a little too many.
What other notes do we have, Julia, since our notes match?
Since they match, they had a discussion that Noma's had with some other breweries about like medals and awards and their importance to a brewery or to a brewer.
Yeah.
And Kelly pretty much said, in the beginning, they were important to kind of establish yourself as, hey, we are a place that other people recognize as making good beer. But now that it's established, it's not that important. So I don't know if were they to do it all again, would they still want to? And I don't feel like they ever focused on, we need to get a medal. It just is something that happened. If they were to do it again, is that something that they would kind of strive for? Or would they just say medals mean absolutely nothing, even just starting out? Hopefully that makes sense.
I do think that there's some affirmation
sure, absolutely.
with the medal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they are happy enough in their own way, in their own success, to be able to say, you know what, we're good. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to stop entering competitions.
No.
But what they expected, what they assumed, they have the earned credit for, and so they can pretty much keep moving forward without without seeking that
Yeah.
that level of affirmation.
That makes sense. And then the last note that I have, which I'm pretty sure is the exact same last note that you had, is at the end of every episode, Gnome says, is there anything you want people to know about Third Eye that you think they don't already know? And they pretty much said, no, everyone already knows absolutely everything about Third Eye, except where that third location is going to be.
Right.
So keep an eye
That's it.
on all things Gnarly Gnome, gnarlygnome.com. Support him on Manscaped, manscaped.com/gnome, or promo code Gnome. I
Promo code
apologize.
Gnome.
Promo code Gnome. Get your balls all trimmed up and fresh. And, well, wait, don't trim your... Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about.
I'll
And-
explain.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah. When we'll take a break and I'll explain.
Oh, okay, you'll let me know about it? Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. Because these are things that I don't have direct knowledge of. And also, order yourself some pretzels.
Yeah.
Pretzels.com.
I did. I
Promo
spent-
code Gnome20.
I spent
A lot of money. And
more
did you,
money than I wanted to tell my wife.
Did you
on
bring
pretzels.
any of those tonight so I could try them?
I
Try
forgot.
before I buy. Marco!
I forgot. I actually
God.
told Rachel, I was like,
Oh, my
hey,
God.
I'm going to take some to Julia. And
And then you didn't.
then I didn't.
I'll tell you what.
My family is totally crushing those pretzels.
All right. Well, save a few.
Okay.
And then that can be my Valentine's Day present from you.
Oh, yeah. That's next Tuesday, right?
It is. It is.
I
And
guess we'll tell
because-
you later what we're doing
what
next
we're doing.
Tuesday.
Yes, yes. And it is all because of our love for our listeners. We have shift beers to get into. So you're almost done with that cold IPA. I'm pretty close to being done with my Wolf's Ridge. So let's take another quick break and get some fresh beers. And we'll be right back to let you know all about the debauchery that is the shiftiest of the beer podcasts.
All right.
All right, we'll be right back, guys. We're back, and we are being complete degens. We are. We have to talk about shift beers.
Yep.
It is episode 112. Spaghettaboutit.
Spaghettaboutit.
So I will give you, the listeners, just a single guess, just one guess, as to what Marco and I are going to be drinking while we recap this episode. I'll count you down, and then we'll get started with the recap. So you can guess in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Marco, what do we have in our glasses?
We have spaghetti.
Spaghetti. Cheers.
Cheers. So, yeah,
Ooh, that smells
you
good.
can get you a spaghetti here. Now, Higher Gravity does not have High Life in bottles to serve across the bar. So
But they
we
do.
crack the can, and they do have Campari. So
Exactly.
we crack the can, and producer Annie here doing a great job. Producer
Hell
Annie,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Poured it into a glass, and then we had the Campari. And so we
The
have...
head of this is like a wonderful pink, light pink color. And have you had some of yours yet? Because I
Not
just
yet.
took a drink of mine.
Okay,
It is
I will.
delicious. Producer Annie put in the perfect amount of Campari,
Wow.
however you want to say it. It doesn't really matter. This is damn good.
All
and
right,
I,
so
and
that
I
was
feel
tasty.
like my kind of overall maturity level has dropped even lower than it normally is.
So I think the key to that was actually putting a little bit less Campari than maybe the original thought ratio into
Okay.
it. And so
And if you're not sure what a spaghetti is, check out spaghetti.net. SPAGHETT.net. And you will get all of the information you need about this pretty amazing beverage from there. Or you can listen to this episode of Shift Beers because they go
that's-
into detail.
that's pretty tasty.
Isn't it though?
Yeah.
I know.
No, that's good.
For completely, like, what the hell is that? Like, you know, if someone tells you about it, they're like, what the hell is that? Why?
right.
But man, it's good. Man, it's good.
That's tasty. I've had it before, and I guess
Same.
my ratios have been off because I didn't really like it that much.
I feel like there definitely is a ratio that you have to kind of figure out for your own personal taste. I know that when my Josh and I went to Heckle Golfers with shift beers, we made spaghettis, and we were kind of like, some of them had a little more, a little less, a little whatever. And there is a ratio that you will enjoy more than what someone else will enjoy. It's all personal preference. Just go for it.
All
Just
right.
go for it and just do it. All right, so in the all Beth episode of Shift Beers,
Spaghettaboutit.
everyone was Beth,
Yep.
as they should be.
Right.
As we have said numerous times before, she is the glue that holds the show together. She's the only reason that I listen, really. Whenever there's an episode that Beth isn't on, I'm kind of like, I don't want to listen. I'm obligated to listen now because of Truth, Beer, and Consequences. But it was all Beth. The all Beth episode, it was fantastic. They started off, hit the ground running. They had a couple drunk calls that they played, including an amazing call by the Vladdy Daddy.
Yeah, Vladimir.
Which, good God, I don't know how he has their number.
He loves
But,
the podcast.
Who doesn't?
He loves the podcast.
It's so
Very
much fun.
complimentary to
So
Beth
much
as
fun.
well.
True
Vladimir.
that. True
Yeah.
that. I mean, Vlad might like Beth just as much, if not more, than we do.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Screw Corey, and no, not screw Corey. But
Right,
just
like not
screw
the
Corey.
actual act.
It's all about Beth.
Yeah.
All about Beth for us.
And then
they-
prostates.
and yeah. Yeah.
They get right off the rip into prostate talk. Ship prostates.
Oh God. Oh God. Boy. Nope. I'm not. I'll make this joke to you.
You talk about how
off the
bumpy it
air.
is.
Oh. You hit that speed bump just right. Anyway, drinking. The drinking segment.
Drinking.
Lots of garage beers and bowling alleys.
Yeah.
And garage bar beers, I guess I should probably clarify, because
Garage bar.
there is garage beer
Yeah.
as like a proper noun. These were garage beers in the garage bar.
Yeah, at the garage
Yes,
bar.
Yes. They also all got cold beer brain freezes.
They did.
Have you ever had a brain freeze? I mean, I know that you haven't really been able to have ice cream for a long time, but like with
No,
snow
it-
cones or anything like that?
Yeah, it has happened, for
I've
sure.
never had one.
So,
And I've
here's the
been
thing.
known to like down some milkshakes and ice cream. Knock on wood, so far I've never experienced one. I don't know what it's all about.
Really? That's interesting. No,
yeah.
I have had them. And
Okay.
the old wives' tale is that you take your tongue and press it up against the roof
Yeah.
of your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Oh.
It doesn't do nothing.
You just suffer and go.
Yeah, you just
"Oh,
still suffer."
I think it's making this better. I think
No,
this
I
is
think it's making it better. No, it's not. No.
Maybe it's the placebo effect. If you think that pressing your tongue against the roof of your mouth is going to make it better, maybe.
Except for the brain freeze still there.
So that's a thing that like really hurts, or like what? Can you explain brain freeze to me? Because again, I don't know.
Yeah, it just,
I don't think I've ever experienced that.
That's interesting.
And for all of the Shift Beers team to have one like at the same time while they're drinking the beer and recording.
Can I explain it?
Yeah.
You drink something super cold or eats. Usually, it's
Yeah,
drink something super cold.
Okay.
And then it just basically sends a freezing. Just imagine your whole inside of your head, meaning your brain, just being instantly iced over in pain.
So it's an actual. It's not just like, oh my God, this is cold. It's like is it like a stabbing, a stinging? Because I'm trying to relate it to a migraine somehow.
Yeah.
Like how
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a way to relate to it. Which,
Yeah, stabbing, stinging.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully I never experience one, but
Yeah, hopefully
if I
not.
do, I know.
If you haven't so far, I mean, the chances are good you might not.
Yeah. But you know what? The night is still young, so
Yeah.
You never
that's true.
know.
You never know.
let's see. What else did they talk? They explained what a spaghetti is, since that's the main part of the episode.
Right.
But again, skip over that part and just go to spaghetti.net. And Tango agrees.
Yeah.
Spaghetti.net is the way to learn about all things spaghetti.
Tango and cash.
Very nice. Let's see. They talked about going to the garage bar. Mm-hmm. Apparently, if you go to the garage bar, you have to be in your Sunday finest. Like, you can't just roll up in like jeans and a t-shirt.
Got to
like
make sure
you're
you
gonna casually
got to
drink.
make sure your eyes are done.
Your eyes are done. You need to make sure your makeup is on point. Full suit and tie. It's for the guys, it sounded like.
Yeah.
But I
Gotta bring it.
didn't realize that. I'm kind of glad.
Got to get put together.
I'm kind of glad now that I haven't been to the garage
Because
bar.
I would have just showed up in
yeah.
cargo pants and a brewery shirt.
Right, exactly. And that's not how you do it.
No, not at the garage.
Not at
No. Wait.
Ooh, Liam.
Jesus.
Holy cow.
Well, I didn't know he
Very
was here.
nice. I didn't either. He just kind of popped out from behind that pillar that we sit by.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Hey, Liam, you want a spaghetti?
No. Okay.
All right.
Whatever.
Kind of missing out. This is fucking delicious.
What? An Irish whiskey. Get out of here, buddy.
Whatever.
Whatever.
I mean, they can do that for you here at Higher Gravity.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
I mean, come on. We're spaghetti. That's what this is all about. They spaghetted in this episode all the things.
Yeah, all the things that they brought.
All the things that they brought. They did not spaghetti the bonus beers because they didn't want to taint the bonus beers with the Campari.
Yeah, they didn't want any taint.
But you know what? Isn't that what they were doing with everything else that they brought? By spaghetting it? Like, what made the bonus beers so special that they're like, no, we're not going to sully these beers. But they sullied everything else, including Geist tea.
They did.
They did.
They did.
They
Mixed
absolutely
reviews
did.
on the Geist tea spaghetti.
Yes. They did rate all of the things that they spaghetted. Like, you know, is this something, you know, what's your rating? What was number 1 through number 4 or 5 of what they brought? Which is kind of interesting. They definitely agreed on a lot of them, but they didn't agree on the bottom couple.
Right.
Of what
no,
each
they
of them
didn't.
thought was the worst. So,
No, but
very
they
interesting.
kept spaghetti.
Speaking of spaghetti, Beth introduced the best spaghetti method of all time.
It was
Amazing.
It was really good.
Oh my god! And when you hear it, or if you saw the post that they did on social media,
Social media posts.
you're like, holy shit, that makes perfect sense.
Perfect sense.
It is. It's so obvious that it's kind of, you don't see the forest for the trees.
Right.
It's so obvious that that's the way you need to make your spaghettis, especially if you show up at a place that doesn't
Have Campari.
have Campari, right? Which they kind of talked about. Is there any, you know, legalities to it? But, you know,
Of course there is.
sure. But if you don't make it known,
Right.
you know,
Hey,
why not? Hey,
they don't ask, I'm not telling.
exactly. But seriously, that was phenomenal. And when I saw the picture,
wonderful.
I'm like, I have got to hear how they talk about this on Shift Beers. It's going to be amazing.
Shift beer?
The Shift Beer. I was not disappointed in
Right.
any way, shape, or form, and I don't think I have. I'm going to hit this
You
button.
didn't hit-
I don't know if
You
it's
don't
the
think
right
Kevin
button.
Sorbo's there?
Hell yeah, Kevin Sorba is there. I couldn't
And
remember.
the volume's good too, because
The volume was good too. Yeah, a
in
lot
the-
of times.
In the previous episodes, it was a
Yeah.
little tough to hear sometimes.
Well, and when I tried to edit it, this is, you know, peek behind the curtains of what the hell does Julia do with these episodes after they're done recording. When I would try to amplify that, because the beginning of the sound is so much higher than the end, it was such an obvious and drastic shift that I'm like, I'd rather have it be a little too quiet than blow out people's car speakers or their ears if they're wearing, you know, earbuds and listening at work. So, but I think that was good.
yeah,
I
that
think
was
that
good.
was good. So,
It was good.
But that's why sometimes if it's a
At
little
least it sounds
quieter,
good to us.
yes, your mileage may vary. And again, I would rather not blow your eardrums out if I can help it. So, you know, deal with it. We do what we can. Let's see. What other notes do we have here? About 3/4 of the way through the episode, you realize as they were talking and having a great time.
They didn't never
This-
let go of the prostate.
Well,
Thing.
okay. In addition to never letting go of the prostate.
Okay,
Like
go ahead.
they were just up there, just tight as possible. Man. Yeah, something like that. They were the most together, calm, and on topic for this show that I think they have ever been in any Shift Beers episode, other than the non-alcoholic episodes. But yeah, they were beyond together for this episode. For an hour-long episode, on topic, well, aside from the prostate stuff, 99% of the time.
Did Annie try this?
I don't know if she did. I don't think she did.
Damn.
Okay, let's try to not drink all of this. We only have a couple notes left for this episode, actually. So let's try to finish this and then have Annie give a spaghetti a try. Try a spaghetti. I'll buy her one.
You need to try this.
You absolutely do. You need to try the spaghetti. Yes, absolutely. Let's see. They had
She's coming with a straw. Here
They
we
had-
go.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. We're going to see what producer Annie thinks about her first spaghetti.
It's a nice touch.
There you go. I mean, it's not for everyone.
I get like cherry vibes, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, like the ratio, some people like more Campari, some people like less. I think this is
that's
perfect. Yeah.
I'm not much of a cherry person,
Yeah.
but I don't.
But you can understand like kind of the appeal and all that. There you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Annie approved. Producer Annie.
Producer Annie approved. Hell yeah. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Speaking of approved, I approve of the pro level button usage in this episode. Oh my God. It was always on point. It was never overused.
Always
underused.
on time.
So fantastic. My next note, interesting winners for the Spaghettathon, which, we already touched on a little earlier. Around the 50-minute mark of this episode, and I think it was a total of like 58, 59 minutes, they introduced the new Shift Beers theme song. Mind blown. So amazing. So fucking cool. I didn't think it could get any better than what they have had from day one, which is awesome.
Right.
This new theme music, intro music, whatever they're going to end up using it for, intro, outro, holy crap. You need to crank it up when they're doing this.
To 11.
To 11, maybe 12. Does it even go to 12 or does it just go to 11?
I don't know.
You know what I
That's too
mean?
much.
That's too much?
It's too much.
Okay. Kind of blast it out. All right. But holy crap, the music was phenomenal. I think Brian composed most of it, it sounded like they were saying. Holy crap. Like, I knew that he was, the Brian the Brewer guy. One of these days, he's going to spell his name right. Today was still not that day, but I didn't realize he had such musical prowess. Dude, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
With his prowess.
Applause to you. Boy, that sounds like something not even. That sounds like something prostate related. Oh God. What have we done? Oh man, could be worse. No, well, actually, I don't know if it could be.
I mean, I
don't
guess.
know.
I guess, but I mean, it's just a short list after.
Oh my
after
God.
that.
Yeah. Speaking of short lists,
Oh, sorry.
how many they covered how many beers they drank in 2022
Oh, yes.
on Shift Beers.
They did. That's
It was
pretty
surprising.
respectable.
It really was. It
Yeah.
really, really was.
That's pretty damn respectable.
Not lying at all.
Yeah, it's a very healthy number.
True that.
It's our truth.
That it is absolutely our truth, but it's also their truth, and I'm not going to tell you guys the number.
No.
You need to listen because, again,
No.
from beginning to end, this episode was absolutely amazing. I am so glad that they decided to do, their 37th spaghetti episode. I mean,
Yeah.
it's something that they always circle back to, and for good reason, because it's fun. Do you have anything else before we get to the burp count, which is one of the most fun parts of listening to?
Wait. What the fuck? Come here.
Oh, we getting Liam to do this?
No.
God damn it, Liam! Come on. Well, then don't come over here. Just seriously, just stay over there because you're just.
He doesn't want to.
interrupting.
He doesn't want to like
Well, but then he doesn't need to come over
Put-
here.
anything into this.
No. I
He
mean,
just.
no.
Yeah.
Come
No.
on. What a jackass.
He's fucking
That guy.
a-hole.
All right. Well, to round off this recap of Shift Beers, episode 112.
We would have Charles Barkley, but he's at
Oh, but he's-
the Waste Management Open
Oh, good God.
because he's like
He
the
would
last
be.
golfer.
He would
He's
be.
like the last celebrity golfer at the Waste Management Open. So
They're like, dude, everything kind of shut down like 3 hours ago, and you're still on hole 8.
right, that's what
you
he's
need
doing
to-
right now, or he would be here.
And that's why we're stuck with Liam.
Yeah,
Great.
Liam, fucking Liam.
All right. Well, would you like to know the number of burps for episode 112, Spaghettaboutit, a.k.a. the All Beth episode?
Yes.
All right. The number of Mios in this episode, if you know, you know. Listen to the episode. 72.
Whoa.
72 burps.
Hey.
Which translates, according to the rules of our drinking game, to 144 ounces.
Oh my gosh.
Which boils down to 9 pints
Hell yeah.
in a 58-minute episode.
Oh my God. You're
Holy
trashed.
crap. Like, I don't know what they were doing, but they were all beyond gassy.
They were, yeah.
If those are the burps that were coming out, I don't want to know how bad that place smelled by the time they were done with that
Don't light a
episode.
match.
Oh, God, no. No, the place would be just gone. And everything in like a 10-mile radius would just nuclear fallout.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Like Chernobyl.
This was such a fun episode.
It was fun.
It was fantastic. Definitely check it out. Check out episode 112 of Shift Beer Spaghettaboutit, and check out spaghetti.net if you have any questions about spaghettis and why.
Yep.
Just why. I think we're done with podcasts.
Okay.
At this point.
Let's wrap it up. And
All right.
there's something new here at Higher
Yes.
Gravity. And
Yes, there's
we've got
some
a
new-
couple of people here that we know. So
It's true. We're going to drink some bourbon because it is Bourbon Wednesday.
Bourbon.
So $3 off well pours of
Yep.
bourbon. They have a new one on the
with
shelf that we
$3
want
off
to try.
specialty bourbon.
Specialty bourbons. My apologies. Thank you for correcting me on that. And other than that, thank you guys so very much for listening. As always, we really appreciate your listenership. If you like what we're doing and want to support us, first and foremost, tell a friend, a family member, a coworker, your dog walker, your parrot feeder, whoever. Tell people about our show. Word of mouth is the best way to share everything about it. You can also follow us on social media. We are at Truth Beer Pod on all the social media platforms. Send us an email about what you like, truthbeerpod@gmail.com. Send all of your complaints, things you don't like about our show, to @RagingHop on Twitter, and he will compile those and put them in a spreadsheet and get them over to us, and we will laugh at them and have such a good time figuring out why didn't you like our prostate jokes. Who knows?
Who knows? Also, thank you to everybody who has been with us for a long time. Thank you to everyone.
80 episodes now.
Yeah, thank you for everyone who is just giving this a try. Look, I know that this may be different, a podcast that recaps a city's craft beer podcast, but give us a try. Not only listen to one, listen to two, listen to three. You'll get what we're doing. You'll get the jokes. I promise you, you'll get it. And then if it's still not for you, at least we got your multiple clicks. So thank you very much.
Yeah. If you would like to throw a couple bucks our way so that we can do more stuff with video editing software isn't cheap. Also, to help us pay for a couple beers here and there, you can do that one of two ways. Go to truthbeerpod.com. We have two links on that page. One is for kind of a one-time donation if you just want to throw us, I don't know, $5-7 for a pint of beer for one of us. Or if you want to be a Patreon subscriber, which we are trying to get 1 to 2 exclusive Patreon-only pieces of content, video, audio, that type of thing out a month. Do that at patreon.com/truthbeerpod. Again, links to all of our social media, Patreon, all that are at truthbeerpod. Other than that, Marco, what are you going to be doing next Tuesday, which is the Day of Love?
That's right, Valentine's Day.
Day.
Yeah, Valentine's Day. What I'm going to be doing on Valentine's Day is, guess what, everyone? I'm going to be here with Julia recapping Cincinnati Craft Beer Podcast from this week. So cheers, everyone. Cheers, Julia.
Cheers. See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
I might wear red. Who knows?
Hell yeah.
Or
Candle.
being a Cupid outfit. I don't know.
Do you think we can get Higher Gravity to put like some candles on the table for us next week? 'Cause that'd be pretty awesome.
There'll be candles on the table, right?
Hell yeah. There better be.
Everyone's going to have candles.
Otherwise, I'm going to riot.